What if I told you that a single fashion show in 1947 changed the world forever? A man who was broke, sick, and had lost everything built one of the biggest empires in history. This is the story of Christian Dior. And it all started with a star on the ground. The story of the Dior brand begins in a small garden in northern France. Christian Dior was born in 1905 in the seaside town of Granville. He was born into a wealthy family. His father was a successful businessman, and his mother, Madeleine, loved flowers and gardening. Young Christian spent hours in the garden with his mother, learning the names of every flower. He loved to draw and paint, especially flowers and landscapes. Art was his first true passion. His family was wealthy and respected. Dinner parties were elegant, and Christian watched everything with curious eyes. One night, young Christian stared at a bright star in the sky. It felt like a sign of destiny. That star would appear again later in his life. His father wanted him to become a diplomat, but Christian's heart belonged to art and design. His bedroom walls were covered with fashion sketches and paintings of Parisian art galleries. With his father's money, he opened a small art gallery in Paris. He exhibited works by Picasso and Matisse. But the Great Depression of 1929 hit hard. People stopped buying art, and his gallery went bankrupt. He was forced to sell the gallery and pack up his dreams. It was a devastating time. Tragedy struck again. His beloved mother Madeleine passed away. Christian was heartbroken. His father lost everything in the economic crisis and had to hand over the keys of their villa to the bank. Christian himself became seriously ill with tuberculosis and was sent to the countryside to recover. But a friend gave him hope. "Sell your sketches to the tailors of Paris. You have real talent." He sold his first dress sketch and earned real money. His confidence slowly returned. He was hired by the famous fashion house of Lucien Lelong in Paris, even during the chaos of World War II. They say fate came to him in the form of a star. One night, walking down a dark street, he tripped on a metal star embedded in the pavement. He picked it up and kept it as a lucky charm. He believed it was a sign from destiny. He visited a fortune teller who laid out the tarot cards and smiled. "Great success is waiting for you, Christian." The very next morning, a wealthy textile magnate named Marcel Boussac knocked on his small apartment door. They shook hands and signed a contract. The name on the paper was Dior. His brand was born. He chose a small boutique at 30 Avenue Montaigne in Paris. It was the beginning of a legend. The workshop buzzed with excitement. Mannequins and fabrics filled every corner. On February 12, 1947, a huge banner hung outside the Ritz Hotel in Paris. It read, "Christian Dior Collection." The showroom was packed. Models walked the runway, wearing dresses with incredibly wide skirts and tiny waists. It was revolutionary. The audience gasped. Their eyes went wide, and some even covered their mouths in sheer amazement. Carmel Snow, the editor of Harper's Bazaar, shouted, "It's such a new look!" And the name stuck forever. Christian Dior knelt on the runway and raised his hands to the sky. It was his victory moment. The next morning, Paris newspapers screamed, "Revolution in fashion!" That same year, he created his first perfume. He worked like a scientist, testing scents with a dropper. He named it Miss Dior, after his beloved sister Catherine, who had just been freed from a prison camp. In 1948, Dior opened his first boutique in New York on Fifth Avenue. American and French flags flew together. Dior traveled to Japan. Japanese stickmen in kimonos bowed to him, and cherry blossoms welcomed him. He expanded into shoes, jewelry, and accessories. The Dior empire was growing fast. Within a decade, the brand had spread across Europe, America, and Asia. Dior was a global name. Dior didn't just make dresses. He gave women new shapes. First came the A-line, wide at the bottom. The A-line dress made women look like walking flowers. It was elegant and feminine. Then came the H-line, straight, elongated, and architectural. It was bold and modern. Women loved the H-line for its simple, powerful silhouette. Next was the Y-line, broad shoulders that made a strong statement. Together, the A, H, Y, and Tulip lines became the foundation of modern fashion. But his great heart gave out. On October 24, 1957, while resting at a spa in Italy, Christian Dior suffered a fatal heart attack. All of Paris mourned. The streets filled with crying stickmen, hats off, tears falling. The Eiffel Tower flew its flag at half-mast. But the story didn't end. A 21-year-old genius named Yves Saint Laurent took over the House of Dior. Over the decades, creative directors like Galliano, Raf Simons, and Maria Grazia Chiuri each brought new life to Dior. Today, Dior is a global empire, from haute couture to perfumes, makeup, and jewelry. Christian Dior was 40 years old when he built his dream. It is never too late to follow your star. Start today. Liked this story? Hit like. Want more? Subscribe. Which brand next? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching.